Yeah, I think we can slowly start. Welcome everyone who's already here. We'll slowly get started with our session today. I'll still wait a minute or so for some more people to arrive. But to those who are already here, we're happy to have you on board. So this is a event by the Alliance project in collaboration with a few other sister projects that we were able to embed into the Intelligent Cities Challenge implementation lab, which has been running for some time now, with the key event happening last week on the 21st of March. And yeah, the title is How to Do Local Green Deals, Learning from Small to Large Municipalities Across Europe. So we hope you might have seen already in the agenda that was shared on the registration page that the key idea is to look a little bit how developing local green deals has been done in these projects and where we can find differences based on country-specific context. Hey, Matthias, welcome. So okay, there are some more people joining, so let me just hold it one more minute here. Welcome everybody who's just joining now. We're just slowly getting started. So while I'm admitting people, let me repeat and welcome you to this final event from the Alliance project. How to do local green deals, learning from small to large municipalities across Europe. We were happy to be able to embed this event into the ICC's implementation lab, which has been running since a couple of weeks now. And slowly continuing now here in our introduction, we have these 5 sister projects that were funded to prototype local green deals. It's an Alliance project, it's the CLIMAA project, the BLUESAMM SME for Green, and the TouriSME project. So we're quite happy to have 5 projects from the same call and covering quite a broad range of countries and regions in the European Union. And we're excited to learn a little bit how the experiences were different depending on the country-specific contexts in doing this work of prototyping local green deals. Okay, so we're at 28 people, so I believe we're pretty good to just kick it off fully. So with this, welcome to everybody again. And this is our agenda for today. So I'll do a very quick introduction about local green deals and the context of these 5 projects. And then we have 2 slots, basically a group 1 and a group 2 slot. Group 1 are our more medium to larger cities, also more northern and western European context. So here with the Alliance and the CLIMAA project with Mannheim, Espoo, Umeå from Germany, Finland, and Sweden. And then we have the CLIMAA project with Aalborg and Amsterdam from Denmark and the Netherlands. And then the second group is small to medium-sized cities and also southern to Eastern European context. So here we have the BLUESAMM project with Viccio and Varaždin in Italy and Croatia. And then we have SME for Green with Ilfov and Turin, Italy and Romania, and TouriSME finally with Olivenza, San Javier and Lipari in Italy and Spain. So in each of the 2 blocks, we'll have a short presentation from each of the projects to share their learnings with us. And then we also have some time for Q&A. And at the end, for the outlook, we've collected a few recommendations that we would like to share also with the European Commission as a big summary of the 5 projects together. So just very quickly to warm us up about local green deals. What's the idea here? As you probably know, if you're an ICC core city, you've heard this also a couple of times now, but it's about, we would say, responding to cities' needs and in the same course achieve global and European sustainability goals. And I think the starting point that we would like to take is that most cities who somehow care about sustainability have a motivation to create a livable, attractive city. And I think from there, you can always draw the connection to global or European sustainability goals like the Green Deal or also the Sustainable Development Goals at the international level. And then tools like local Green Deals and initiatives like the Cities Mission or the Committee of Regions Green Deal Going Local all try basically to bridge these two worlds, I would say, and marry the good intentions of any public institution with these global political goals. And when we started the Alliance project and also all the sister projects started, that was in 2022. We just came from a time where there was a lot of initiative in reaction to the European Green Deal. The first one I would like to mention is the European Conference on Sustainable Cities and Towns, which happened in Mannheim in 2020, organized together with CLIMAA, and this is where the term of local Green Deals was first launched by the Mannheim message, which was like the outcome document of that conference. And then more or less back to back, also the ICC picked up this idea of local Green Deals, and the blueprint for action was developed as an output of the Intelligent Cities Challenge phase 1. And now we're in phase 2, and have many cities also prototyping this idea of local Green Deals further. But it has matured, and I would say it has matured also through these projects that are present here today. So it's great to have them together and present together a little bit the learnings. The Green Deal Going Local initiative was also born more or less at the same time from the Committee of Regions. And I think also what many of you are aware of is the EU Cities Mission, which has a similar approach. Also, the little logo here on the bottom right, the Green Deal, that's a Dutch initiative that maybe our colleagues from Amsterdam could comment on more. So also here, I think it was the first case where a national government has picked up the Green Deal directly and translated that into an initiative to support business, in this case, primarily. Okay, yeah, Tessa, perfect. Then let me continue. So once again, like what's the idea behind? So we say it's local Green Deals are governance innovation trying to respond to an implementation gap. And this gap consists mainly in the fact that we have achieved low-hanging fruits and those activities that are easier to control from a public administration side, but many activities that are harder to control or to impact are still kind of left to do. And this is definitely also a lot of transformative activities in business and industry sectors, but also in the private household level, or any actions that need the national government support because cities don't have any power or control over them. And the idea of local Green Deals, similar to climate city contracts, and I see the image is wrong here, but basically it follows also a line of thought that you could also trace back to initiatives at the European level, like the Green City Accord or the Climate Pact. What all of them have in common, we say, is that they are action agreements. And I think this makes a lot of sense as we are in the decade of action also at the global level to really implement many goals that have been defined. Local Greens and CCCs, CLIMAA has published a briefing paper 2 years ago, also when these two initiatives came up and gained momentum, to explain a bit where we see the similarities and differences. All in all, we would say it's same, but slightly different, of course. And cities like Mannheim have also picked it up, so we might hear a bit more about that later when we hear the presentations. Just one thing also I wanted to mention is the European Commission's industrial policy, because all these projects have been also funded by DG GROW and ESMEA, standing for the entrepreneurial and industry policy within the Commission. The European Industrial Strategy, which was updated in 2021, basically very nicely and clearly carves out this idea that there is a clear business case for this green and digital transition, the twin transition, as also ICC refers to it. And it has quite a revolutionary almost tone. If you look into the text, it's about shaking up old habits and accelerating the green transition. So I think we have a clearly transformative ambition here also on the European Commission side, which is nice and opens a lot of doors, I think, to really have ambitious local Green Deals at the local level. And then more recently in 2023, there was also the Green Deal Industrial Plan, and there's a communication from the Commission saying the Green Deal Industrial Plan for the net zero age. Also here, there's the speech about transforming the continent into a green economy, and also the need to leverage public funding and crowd in private investments via public funding. So this is also something that for those of the ICC core cities who joined the training last week on local Green Deals, we talked a lot about funding and finance. And I think in the discussions, we also heard that we need to use public finance to leverage private investments as there's a vast need for additional funding from or financing from the private sector. So this is also something, maybe let's see if we touch upon this today, but just something also to keep in mind. Local Green Deals could be a good instrument to bring these policies to the ground. Ultimately, I think what everybody should have seen who's attending today is the blueprint's kind of core part, which is this cycle with the different steps to implement local Green Deals. And step 7, step 6, and also here local Green Deal principle 7, all being about the deal as such, and the deal being the idea of a written agreement between the city and businesses, primarily as the focus also of ICC, and being the instrument to really assure a commitment to sustainability goals, to action, to financial contributions where possible, to accelerate the transition and ultimately achieve these political goals. All right, with that, I think we should be more or less on the same page why we're here. And I want to kind of zoom in a bit into what the presentations will be about. So the focus today, as I said, is a bit to try to cover this European diversity of contexts and see how local Green Deals play out in these different contexts. This map shows you the ICC's coverage of cities across the EU countries. So you see basically more or less all corners are covered. And speaking to that diversity, I'm happy and curious to hear what the projects found out. Those 3 questions on the right are basically the guiding questions that we hope to hear from our speakers about. So what final shape did the local Green Deal take? How did you do that? To what extent did you maybe follow the blueprint? What were the biggest challenges? So are there any legal, cultural, economic aspects in your country that you found particularly relevant, or where you would say, hey, that's particular maybe for our context here? And then ultimately, of course, also what were recommendations you could make. Great, and we will start with a strong alliance with the cities of Espoo, Mannheim, and Umeå. But we're switching a little bit the sequence, and we'll start with our first intervention from the city of Mannheim. And here we have Agnes Schönfelder, and I hope the microphone works.
I think my microphone works, yes, but I need my slide, Niklas.
You will get it.
So we share our 10 minutes in alliance. So every city has 3 minutes. So I have only a few time to explain what Mannheim did on the blueprint of action. So building case step 1. So we had a city council resolution after the European Conference on Sustainable Cities and Towns. We launched together with ICLE the Mannheim message. So we decided with the city council to be a pilot city for a local Green Deal in the whole dimension. So all the 8 action fields you see in the wonderful flower of local Green Deals in the middle of the picture. And we decided with the City Council as well to connect it with the EU mission of climate neutral cities by 2030, that our local Green Deal is the overall strategy to connect the integrated governance goals in the planned strategies, to build strong partnerships with the citizens and stakeholders, and to do action, really deals. You see the soil of the wonderful flower of local Green Deals. That is the fundament for our local Green Deal. So we defined our principle, and we defined what is our local Green Deal to be able to explain it not only to the administration but also the stakeholders. I think that is a really, really good thing to think about what story you are telling your city and citizens. And then step 2 was started in parallel. So we built a team for managing and coordinating the local Green Deal. We started as a project structure, and now we are, you see on the left side, we are a team, fixed team with 14 people directly working under the mayor in the matrix organization. And so we are watering the wonderful flower of local Green Deals with innovation, just transition, and working together. And the blueprint of action gives the sunshine for the flower. But the most important is that many, many gardeners are planting these deals. So in our case, Mannheim case, the deals belong to the gardeners, to the local Green Deal businesses, citizens, administration. So we are doing deals in every dimension in our city. And so first we identified the existing strategies and commitments in the city. So we did a potential analysis, checked where in which strategies, projects are potential for deals. And then we developed together with the businesses, with the city administration, with the municipal organizations, the first deals. And now we are stepping forward with the 8 local Green Deal managers, which are only responsible to activate, to bundle, and to initiate deals with the civil society. And they're developing now the deal box for every action field, for environment, for built environment, for mobility, and so on. And so they also define the framework conditions, legal and fiscal framework conditions to be able to give advice to the businesses and citizens how to develop their own deals. And that has to do with our multi-level challenge, because we are really convinced that deals can only be happen if the national, the regional, local, national, and EU level on legal and fiscal frameworks work together, which responds to the Mannheim message, where these principles were laid down. And so the next step is names deals. It is ideal for Mannheim. Our deal is only ideal for Mannheim if everybody in the city is dealing, is making a really contribution. And we monitor the progress. We have registered all the committed deals on our website, on our Ideal for Mannheim website, and we checked all the deals over our criteria that they fit to the EU Green Deal principles and to the just transition principle to work together and to be very innovative. So I hope it was within the 3 minutes, in short, and we are developing now the deals without the Net Zero Cities Pilots Cities CoLab, Committed to Local Climate Action building. We are developing citizen deals. That will be really, really important for our deal in Mannheim. Thank you very much.
Thank you as well, Agnes. And then without further ado, let's hear from the next case, which is Espoo.
Hi guys, thank you very much for having me here today. So I'm Tessa Armour and I work with Sobi for the city of Espoo in our Centre of Excellence for Sustainable Development, and I specifically work with circular economy and urban sustainability. Can you give me the next slide, please? So our local Green Deal has started from the need for a deal in this specific area. So this is an industrial area located pretty much in the center of Espoo. You can see there's a train track going through the area. There's a train stop and it's very, very accessible. It's about 15 minutes from the Helsinki city center, so the capital city for Finland. But there's some issues with building it. There's a lot of private land ownership. It's going to be built over quite a few years. So whatever we decide today will probably come to happen in the next 10-15 years. The city doesn't own much land, so in terms of like how we can develop this area in a circular, sustainable way, we can't use our kind of city planning tools very far with saying this is what we're going to build, because it's all going to be built privately. At the moment, there's these logistic halls that have been in disuse since 2016, but it's going to house about 14,000 inhabitants, 10,000 jobs, and have about 4 billion euros in investments coming to this area. And it's got headquarters from companies such as Nokia, so quite a big working area at the moment. Can I have the next slide, please? So what we have come up with for this area is called the Kera Development Commitment, Kera being the name of the area. Instead of having a very strong city plan that says you need to build in this way using these technologies, that would probably be quite old after 10, 15 years, we've opted for more of an open way of going about this. So what it actually is, it's an annex to a land use agreement. So all the landowners will be signing it and the city will be signing it. We've got a few goals within it. Most important ones are to work in a close local collaboration. Espoo aims to be carbon neutral by 2030, so this area needs to also reflect that, and there needs to be significant circular economy solutions in use because we want to be a reference point for sustainable solutions on an international level. What's kind of unique about it is that it is flexible, it's created to stand time, and it's been co-created with the landowners and the stakeholders in the area. So these aren't just goals that the city has given, but it's more about co-creating this vision and then committing to the goals that we have. There are obviously a few issues with it. I'm not going to talk through the photo. You can kind of see how the actual plan goes about just because of the lack of time. But when you don't have these kind of strict goals that you're aiming towards, it's really hard to also set strict monitoring tools. So how are we going to go about it? How are you going to sanction the companies that don't actually fill the goals that we have? And then how are responsibilities in the area going to be allocated? We've created a couple of tools to support this, like the carbon neutrality roadmap for the area and the local nature value assessment, which both give tools and ways of going towards a more circular, sustainable city. But a lot of it is about building trust. We started in this area, I think it was in the Espoo strategy first time in 2016. And we've been working together, building trust, and it's all about kind of this goodwill between all the workers there, which is both the strength and the kind of weakness of this local Green Deal that we have. But yeah, because of the lack of time, I think I'm going to stop here. And if you've got any questions, please leave them in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them later on. But this was Espoo's example of co-creating urban sustainability through a Green Deal.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tessa. Very, big local Green Deal, concrete example. Very nice. Then let's continue. And once we heard from all the group one projects, we can open the floor for some questions, I think. But then let's continue. And the next alliance city is Umeå and the presentation from Lucas. So.
Thank you, Niklas. My name is Lucas. I'm working at the municipality of Umeå, and it was very inspiring actually to work with Espoo and Mannheim in this. So you can go to the next slide and click 3 times, please. So in Umeå, maybe we have had a little bit different approach. Our local Green Deal is called Umeå Climate Roadmap in English, and it is at one side it's a framework that describes Umeå's largest emission categories and then actions according to that, and then it's at the same time a partnership framework for on a collaborative platform for the stakeholders in Umeå to achieve a more rapid, powerful implementation of their climate measures. And the Umeå municipality and the municipal group. The Umeå municipality and the municipal group is, of course, an important contributor to the emissions in Umeå. So it's an important actor, and we have our own action plan. Please click once. So we are, of course, also a part of the Umeå climate roadmap. And if you click again, you will see also that there are other actors like the regional government, the Umeå municipality, Umeå University, so other public, but then also private companies that have their own specific action plans. And that's how we work together for a better Umeå. Forward, please. So there are different focus areas and climate challenges connected to the Umeå roadmap. We are looking at the emissions within the administrative borders, but also the consumption-based emissions. The focus areas are the areas where we see the greatest need, but also the greatest possibility to actually make a change and reduce emissions. You see on the right side the different focus areas, and within each focus area there are defined climate challenges. So these are like broken down actions that the stakeholders can engage in and can join these challenges. Forward, please. Yeah, so here you see a picture of the crowd of stakeholders that were signatories. We did this picture, I think it's from last fall, and we are very, very happy with the engagement and the amount of organizations that joined. Until now, each year we get more, and there are big and small companies, and it's a good mixture, but we have some really important actors from Umeå as well with us. Forward, please. And you can click, I think, 3 times. So what is the commitment? The commitment to reduce and collaborate, that's like the main at the core. So in the letter of intent, they are writing, or they are committing to support the local climate goals that Umeå has, also to collaborate in learning and dialogue with each other and share information annually in different forms, and then also to reduce and actively reduce their work on actively reducing their own climate emissions. And we are happy with this, but we're also in the progress of making this more concrete. But I mean, the takeaways are maybe we have had a little bit of a different approach. This approach is only possible if you have a good amount of trust and will to cooperate in your local ecosystem. This is key for success, and then also co-creating these goals and visions and actions. And we're still doing this. We are driving the development of the Umeå Climate Roadmap together with these stakeholders. So that's how we do it. I think that was my last slide. So feel free to ask or questions if you have any. And the document is available in English that describes the Umeå roadmap.
Thanks a lot, Lucas. Also very nice to see. Also here the concrete signed document. This always somewhat inspiring, I think. Yeah, before maybe going to the reflections, let's swiftly continue and then look at our sister project CLIMAA. And here we have the cities of Aalborg and Amsterdam. Christopher or Egon, who will continue?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Niklas. My name is Egon Van Wees, and I work for the city of Amsterdam, and I'll do this presentation together with Christopher. I think you can see him already. Yeah, he's there with the glasses. Well, some people with glasses. I hope you all have a wonderful day. We're looking back at a project that we did together with CLIMAA and some local organizations, business organizations. In the case of Amsterdam, it was an SME association, and in Aalborg, a little bit similar, but also different. Maybe you can go to the next slide, Niklas. Yeah, I start with a text, this time not with a signature, but of course, we collected different deals with signatures. And here you can see what a deal in our two cities looks like. It has a description of the context, and that is of course specific to the context that it's about. In the case of Aalborg, there is a little bit more emphasis on sustainability goals. In our case, it was a bit more holistic, so on social impact, but also on sustainability goals. Then every deal, most of the deals were one-on-one between the municipality and a specific business. In the case of Amsterdam, and correct me if I'm wrong, Christopher, there were also some group deals with a few companies. Christopher, in your case, that wasn't the case, but you're working on one with a few agricultural firms, I think, at the moment, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. In the deal, of course, there's described what is the current state of affairs within a particular company. How is it going? And what does a company want to achieve? And this process of setting the commitment is a conversation with each company. And the process has been a little bit different. I'll get to that in a moment. And in the deal, you see specific arrangements about specific activities that a company wants to set up within a set time frame. So there's always a deadline to achieve these activities. And then the deal is about the support that the government is giving towards these activities. And they are mostly in kind. So it's not about financial support, but about in-kind support from civil servants who serve as they can. Next slide, please. So I said already, different approaches. In the case of Amsterdam, we used an open call, so with a platform where companies could put forward a deal proposal with draft goals and activities, etc. We went through a deal app and one-on-one calls, conversations, text going back and forth between real people towards final deals in the end. In the case of Aalborg, it was more of a process working with partnerships that Aalborg already had. I think Aalborg is one of the pioneers when it comes to sustainability in Europe. They're hosting a fantastic conference in October that if you can go there by train, you should definitely do and learn there from the ground, on the ground, what they do in terms of sustainability and also in other areas. Next slide, please. And then to make it a little bit more concrete, here you see what happens then after the deals. Here are two examples in Amsterdam. On the left, you see our local newspaper showing an article about a company that made a deal with us where they're training 60 people with a distance to the labor market while they're renovating a sports club. And this company is a big ship renovation company. So they do lots of metal work with painting, etc. And they made a deal with us around especially these job seekers. You see different areas and aspects like a sports club, a company, training, job seekers, and then us as a city adding the value, thinking along, supporting the job seekers on the ground, but also thinking along in terms of other partnerships in the city. And on the right-hand side, you see a deal with an American social enterprise called Clean the World. I've shared this example a few times already, but now you see something else. We did a webinar together with them, together with Clean the World. And we invited different hotel companies, because what Clean the World does is they recycle soap and plastic amenities from hotels, and they make new soap out of it and new circular products that they give a social direction. So they, Niklas, you were, we're thinking along again with our network and as civil servants and add value to the impact that Clean the World is aiming to achieve. Next slide, please. And then it's over to you, yes. Christopher.
Thank you. My name is Christopher. I work in Aalborg Municipality in the Climate Alliance. Our unit is called. We have 10 people working with local green deals. And yeah, this is the main focus of our project CLIMAA. Some of you might have seen it as our final event was a year ago. Still very actual, relevant inspiration, I believe. But I'll try to speed present our methodology here. We went through the blueprint and got first-hand experiences through making actual deals. And then we advanced the blueprint, you can say, into this 10-step guide. And mainly it's, as you can see in the middle, it's where the blueprint steps are. It's step 6 that we believe needed a bit more detail. But yeah, firstly, building the case, step 1, is about making the concept, make the business case, get political mandate. It's so important to start with having the actual concept on place before you start. Step 2, making the consortium both internal in the organization, but also identifying relevant collaborative actors. As what we did was working with our business associations. Step 3, design phase. This is where you really design the concept. What is the goal for you? What is the focus in your municipality? Set these criteria of what is a good partner, a deal partner for you, and make a strategy on how to achieve this. So you also consider, do you need anything to be made or developed for this process? And then in step 4, you develop the necessary materials. That could be, for example, the application form as they did in Amsterdam, a contact form on how to get in touch with you. Also the deal template, list of potential partners. So this is where you prepare for actually starting making the deals. Also, of course, developing marketing material, because in step 5, recruitment, this is where you get in touch with your potential deal partners. You start your marketing, you open up the application process, and you have meetings with different potential partners. So you go to the next selection phase, which is where you look at your set of criteria. What was a good partner? You have had the talks with the potential partners, and then you can see if the partner's actions and ambition synergize with yours. So step 7 is actually making the deal, and this is this iterative process of making actions and finding this collaborative agreement. And then, of course, in between step 7 and 8, you finalize the deal, you make the actual actions on a document. You sign the deal, and in our case, of course, you also make the legal investigations to is there anything jurisdictions you need to have in it. And then we did this signing ceremony because that was our experience. Our deal partners are very keen on having this promotion and networking, seeing who the other deal partners are, and have this network of deal partners with other actors similar to themselves. Step 9, when you have made the deal, then the real implementation start. Yeah, of course, both you and the deal partner implement their actions and the agreed actions in the deal, and also you keep this monitoring phase of how are we doing, is it still achievable, because then you get into the final phase of evaluation. Did we achieve, we do this on a yearly basis in Aalborg, did we achieve our actions? Do we need to modify anything? Should we update the deal with new actions, or are we did we reach the goal? So this is the process in Aalborg and in Amsterdam, and the methodology that we made in the climate project. Oh yeah, I cannot switch slides, please. Yeah, so these are the takeaways that we had. We have now 50 deals in Aalborg with a broad scope of actors and sectors. And what we see is the actual impact assessment is quite difficult still, as many of our deal partners don't have good data. So this is one of our key actions in our deals, to start with getting a climate account, getting good data so we can have a baseline, so we can also monitor the actions better. But this is a difficult task. And there's the internal governance. Going from this being a small concept in one department to really root and be an acknowledged way of working in Aalborg has been quite challenging to utilize the best resources in the whole municipality. So when it's about transport, we can have our transport unit to accompany us, and when it's about buildings, then we can have our building department to accompany us. That's quite a challenge, but very important though. So the key recommendations from Aalborg is to really just to get started. Don't overthink this. You don't need to have the full picture before you start. You can learn as you go, and it is just okay to fail and be and learn on the way. But again, start with the low-hanging fruit. Start with companies that you have a good relation to. Start with companies that has easy access to CO2 reductions or to sustainable development, whatever your focus is. Yeah, so that was from Aalborg. Next slide.
Yeah, and I think our experiences have similarities. I would first start with echoing with what Christopher already said. I think to add in terms of difficulties, to target the right companies and to think about like what strategy you want to use, I think is something that is difficult. And at the same time, you need to start somewhere and test different approaches. Some recommendations on our end. I think as a city or as a municipality or a region, you can already add a lot in terms of network and time. So echoing there what Christopher said, you can start already with that. That is a way to support companies and other actors if that's your focus. You can definitely play an interesting role as broker. Well, we will hear from other approaches there. Our learnings are that a city or a region can play this role of a broker. What we also saw is that when you invite companies to come forward with actions and to formulate goals, that if you kind of show all of the different goals that the city has, then they come forward with activities and goals that they didn't think about before. So it's good to focus. At the same time, it's also good to kind of awaken companies and show them like these are the societal challenges in our city, and we need your partnership in this. And lastly, I would like to say, yeah, just start and test along the way, yeah, also don't be afraid to make mistakes, because this is a learning journey. I think that was it. And there's a slide. We're here, so reach out to us. And over to you, Niklas.
Thank you very much to the 5 of you. So we're already slightly beyond schedule, but still I would like to take a moment and see if there's any questions to this group of Northwestern European cities. And yeah, I would say all quite impressive in terms of the scope of action here. I would have several questions, but I would give the floor to the audience and see if anybody has a question directly, and just please use the raise hand button, and then you can ask directly.
Yeah, or use the chat if that is maybe a little
exactly.
bit. Yeah.
If everybody's shy, then let me ask a question myself. So what I'd be curious to hear, maybe just a quick reflection. I think in Western European, Northern European countries, this idea of also cooperation between companies and the public sector is quite or not so unusual. There have been different forms already in the past, public-private partnerships and whatnot. And I think a lot, or more or less all of you 5 have presented, I think, the existence of clear climate or sustainability targets that were set by the city government, and then inviting the companies to, in the first step, commit to these targets, and then I think in the second step, define concrete contributions, define concrete measures, which are then captured in this written form of the local Green Deal. Would you say this was something that irritated some companies, or would you say this was already a well-established idea and was rather welcomed? Maybe that would be, the one question that would be nice to have a comment on. And whoever wants to go, please go.
I can start in Denmark. As you say, it's quite common to have these collaborations with the local companies. And it's the Danish mentality, I think, in the companies is they really want to do this green transition, and they want to work with sustainability. A lot of them just don't know where to start and how, and really just need a push and a helping hand to facilitate their process, matchmaking them, just helping them on the way, and also just keeping monitoring them, keeping in touch with them, because they always say, please have meetings with us often, because it's when we have meetings with you we remember to focus on this again. But they are also they're busy people, and they really want to focus on this, but they need some help in this, and they think it's licensed to operate in Denmark, so we haven't had that many difficulties in making these collaborations.
Mm-hmm. Great, thanks. Any other?
I can give a quick comment on that. Yeah, I think all the local Green Deal cities are already transformation cities, and transformation is at every time connected to innovation, and innovation is a fundament for local Green Deals to explore other ways of designing projects and working together in a really innovative way. And we need this for the climate neutrality and resilience goal. We need that. And so I think all the cities have a strong connection to their economic development department. So Matthias is here from Mannheim as well, working in their in the project as well, and so we have these connections, partnerships, so it was not confusing for our industry and social economy and organizations that we ask for really concrete deals. It was the opposite, so they were really keen to join the movement and to be part of it.
Perfect, thanks. Then I think now we have a question from Florian, and then Tessa, maybe you can respond to whatever Florian comes up with and the first question, and then we make a cut there. But Florian first, please. Oh, I can't hear you. Let me see if I can. Now now you can unmute, I think. Can you try again? I think you still have to unmute yourself, Florian. Can you just? You can't? Oh, that's a pity. Okay, then, yeah, I saw you put it in the chat already. So the question was, is data used as a currency for co-investment from the private sector? And does the city supply data to get the co-investments moving? Thank you a lot. I think that's, yeah, nicely picking up the point about financing that I also made in the beginning. Tessa, I think you had like 5 billion euro, what was it? So maybe
well, yeah,
well placed to answer.
Well, yeah, the area is going to see about 4 billion euros in investments, or that's the estimate anyways. I'd say in general, the municipalities in Finland try to keep a lot of the data open, even if it's not openly available on the internet. You can always request for it. It's not used as a currency specifically in the Gera area, at least, where we would like supply data after they've committed to the deal. But one of the things we do is that whereas the companies commit to developing the area in a certain way, also the city commits to being in the area and being involved in this development in the long term, rather than saying, here's the plan, you do according to the plan, and see you in 20 years. But we actually commit to being in the area and being involved in that development in the same way. So not data per se, but a certain commitment in a way as well for the area. And obviously the city provides the infrastructure, parks, well, what have you, that would be normally in a developing area as well.
Okay.
Hopefully this answers your question. To
some extent, maybe we can get back to it. Then thanks for this quick round of Q&A. Then I'd say let's continue with our second group, and then we can go back to a bigger discussion afterwards. And so group 2 now, we go more to South Eastern European context, also to slightly smaller municipalities. And we have 3 projects. The first one is BLUESAMM, and Mattia will present for this. Mattia, are you ready? And then I think you will share your screen directly yourself.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, Niklas, and hi, everybody. So I'm gonna share my screen, just a sec. Can you see?
Yes.
Okay, so hi, everybody. I'm in here on behalf of, of project BLUESAMM, which was a project made by municipality of Vicchio in Italy, and 3 countries mainly, Italy, Austria, and Croatia. And the project aims to try to adapt blueprints for local green deals for smaller and medium municipalities. What we have found out once we applied for the call was that most of the deals at the time were about metropolitan areas and bigger areas. But for instance, in Italy, 93% of municipalities doesn't have 20,000 inhabitants, and more than 70% of the population lives in there. So whether it is maybe possible to impose from top to bottom, some deal from bigger area to smaller one. Maybe if we wanted to test if it was better to make a bottom-up approach. So our partners were the municipality of Vicchio near Florence, which is around 8,000 inhabitants. Then we got an ecosystem led by an association, Cultural Republic ETS, for which I work, and other SMEs, BLUESAMM, which is a university spin-off, and other 2 local SMEs. Then we had as a partner the municipality of Varaždin in Croatia, and I'm so sorry that after 2 years I can't pronounce it well yet. Sorry for the partners that are in here. Wonderland in Austria, which made the miracle, which is making the connection and try to adapt not only what we have done for small municipalities to medium, but also from one context, such as the Italian, to another context, such as the Croatian, which is a very different one, and the development agency North also for Varaždin, Croatia. So our action plan was actually to try to follow the steps of the LGD blueprints, but we adapted it to our situation. Then we wanted to prototype a platform that already was there to be implemented to making good use, underused or not used spaces around the municipality for co-working. Then we had a dissemination program, which we call it dissemination program, but actually was a gradual engagement program of local community, because we begin with a very practical output, which is this co-working platform. Then we gathered the steering group, which with the main stakeholders, and little by little, we integrated from bottom to up all the local community. Then we adapted the blueprints and passed the baton to our partners in Varaždin to try to adapt it to a medium municipality situation. What we discovered, that for smaller municipalities got different possibilities from a huge metropolitan area. They got less skills, probably, less personnel for sure, but on the other hand, they have way stronger connection with territory and the reality in there. Which is also not always a good thing, because in there you can always have to discover what it is, the perception that people have of the territory and the real knowledge based on data of the territory, which usually are 2 different things. Municipalities so can't do it on its own. In smaller territories, collaboration and community engagement are essential. Our local Green Deals format is not based on municipality. It's not led by municipality. Municipality is one stakeholder as the others. Maybe it can be a moderator, maybe it can be an host, but doesn't have more importance and a more active role than other stakeholders. Political endorsement can be useful, though as a political situation now, it can also be counterproductive. So you have to be very careful to ask it and use it to access mostly the administrative level. But with the political situation, which changes a lot and very often, tied all the process to a political situation also means that the next 5 years, you have a huge possibility that all the process is discarded and you won't have last for a lot. And we all know our local Green Deal process, how important it is that will last for years. And we'll be tying something to Green Deal means we have 2050 goals. So we need it to last. Community engagement creates trust, which is our main focus also, that sharing responsibilities and goals can create a sense of community, which nowadays is not there. People do not have trust in public administration, which is a them, in communal businesses, which are a them, SMEs are another them, industries another them. And we need also to create a sense of community and to focus people on common goals. So making them responsible on equal level is essential. Practical outputs also are very, very important, because you need them to focus on something that they can see and that can have a very practical impact on their everyday life, not just deals, something that they can see as a result. Then we passed the baton to Baratin, which made a Copernican, we can say, different point of view, because of course, a medium municipalities has different means respect on the small municipalities. They've made something for me very, very impactful and very, very smart, which is convert part of the step 1 and 2 of the blueprints in a public event. Once they focused, they found the area, they made an amazing event and an amazing job in engagement, engaging all the local stakeholders, and they used this event to collect data, to collect idea from all the stakeholders of local community on how to implement their next actions. Also, how to find their the right stakeholders for one or maybe different steering groups, depending on the outputs. And also, this is very important. If you do this and use an event as a first step, you have an easier way to keep the local community attention and to keep them aligned on your focus. I honestly was amazed on the results that they made. They had the focus on in outskirt square, a local environment, and they really get most of local community engaged actively since the beginning. In this case, medium municipalities can have a more active role, especially in moderation and in having commitment, also because I have much more maybe tools and skills to put into practice, but they do not have to lead it necessarily. Then next step, what we got from, for instance, from BLUESAMM, from Vicchio, smaller municipality point of view, we also since the beginning of BLUESAMM, which is finishing next month as all the other projects in here, we already won other 3 different projects to boost our output results. And mostly we connected with the metropolitan areas in Florence, on the area which Vicchio is, to disseminate the example in other nearby small municipalities and try to test it. Why this is relevant for BLUESAMM? Because this brought us to define our deal format. How can be a deal in Italy based on small municipalities? If you connect with the metropolitan area, which is the next level of public administration, we are planning to do a platform, very easy, on which to put step by step all the blueprints, all the steps of the blueprints, make, for instance, the steering group sign it, and on the platform, the metropolitan city can undersign it, and step by step, they will build it and collect different signs once they engage more local community. In this case, for us, Metropolitan Local Green Deal is going to be the collection of smaller municipalities' local green deals. So the metropolitan city task is mainly to collect them and to align them with their own policies. Why we are doing it? Because in Italy, it's hard to make it legal and hard to make it bureaucratically accepted, and hard to make people, even though they sign it, follow what they sign. So a proper deal, it's an hard thing to do, and you won't get the result. But what we are doing are a undersign and not compelling a declaration of intent shared with other people on the same local community. And once it's going to be on the platform, you just have to stamp it to have it. So Metropolitan City will have a useful tool to collect data and to demonstrate results that can be used politically also from the smaller municipalities. At the same time, can be useful for companies that are involved, can be useful to other stakeholders, but in the end, it's not owned by anybody, just from the local community. We wanted this to be not dangerous, but to be, how can I say, not compelling, not dangerous, but useful to everybody. Thank you for the attention. And I want to use 20 seconds, just, Niklas, to say thank you to all our partners in BLUESAMM project, because if it wasn't for Wonderland, I would have never maybe discovered Varaždin. But I found an ecosystem of people and a group of professionals, which I've never found in other European projects, and you know how many I've write it. Honestly, I am amazed in how well they are working, and I'm very grateful to them for their support during all the process, and I wanted to say it in here.
Thank you very much, Christopher, also for the warm words to your partners. That's of course always nice. Then yeah, let's continue. I think there were a lot of very interesting details in your presentation, and you mentioned quite a few cultural aspects, so thanks for that. We'll get back to that in the discussion at the end, but now I would like to give the floor to Raluca and yeah, move from Italy on to Romania also.
Hi, Niklas. Hi, everyone. I think it's nice that Mattia mentioned his partners, because I wanted to start my presentation by thanking my partners. So yes, I really feel that the local Green Deal development is based a lot on the partnership that we created, and I really want to extend my thank you to my partners as well, because yeah, it's one of the key aspects of the project, and I think that we also had the opportunity to discover and start working with a lot of nice organizations in Ilfov and Italy, in Turin as well. So SME for Green, we are a project aiming to established already local green deals for Torino in Italy and for Ilfov in Romania. I'm going to explain today how we did things for Ilfov in Romania, because I think that you already have a lot of Italian examples in other projects as well. So the partnership of the project is based on support organizations for social enterprises and impact investment in the two ecosystems. And we are joined by the public authorities, the local public authorities from the two countries. For Romania, it's a little bit different from the other countries that you are presenting here, in the sense that the local authorities in Romania are structured on two levels. So this is city level and county level. And what we involved in our project is the county of Ilfov, that is the county around Bucharest. And we can move to the next slide. So the local green deal that we created here in Romania is for the county of Ilfov, this county that surrounds Bucharest. And we started working on the green deal, taking into consideration the principles and also the steps that were laid down in the blueprint. So we did our homework extensively when preparing the project, but also in implementing the project. So we built on what was already there. So we took into consideration the strategies that the two ecosystems had already in place, and we just looked at things that can work together towards the aims of the local Green Deal. Showing commitment was very important. So this is why we also struggled or, aimed to have political leadership within the local Green Deal. This is going to be a challenge from now on, given the fact that in Romania we have elections on all levels this year. So things might change, but we still think that maybe we have already in place some mechanisms that will generate growth for the local Green Deal that we created. So we collaborated and worked with stakeholders. We did a lot of co-creation and training with all types of stakeholders, and we signed the local Green Deal with 8 signatories, and the local Green Deal is currently open to organizations that want to embrace the principles and the actions that we have laid down in the local Green Deal. For all the participants in the local Green Deal, we have established some actions and course of things that should be accomplished over the next 1 or 2 years. So this is how we're going to monitor what things are actually happening within the local Green Deal. What I want to mention is that I think that this opportunity, one of the main things that we take away from this is the fact that this is the first time that all these types of organizations sat at one table and discussed priorities with different stakeholders, right? Because public authorities in Romania don't have that many opportunities or mechanisms to work with SMEs. Maybe they have mechanisms in place for NGOs, but really working with SMEs is still a challenge from a lot of administrative points of view. So I think that this was a first opportunity, like an open door for SMEs to work with a local authority that is actually in charge with local policies in SME development in general. We also thought a lot about how we can engage with SMEs that would want to take part in the local Green Deal, right? So this is why we went and we really enforced this principle regarding innovative financing. We organized webinars and events talking about EU funding opportunities for greening activities at the level of the SMEs, but we also wanted to pilot crowdfunding solutions for them. And this actually was one of the challenges of the project, because what we discovered is that the SMEs that were involved in all the processes within the local Green Deals, they have very, very small communities, and you cannot have crowdfunding if you don't invest prior in building a community. So this was one of our challenges, and this is why we are maybe now working with the SMEs to develop communities instead of crowdfunding campaigns, because at this point, crowdfunding for the SMEs that are part of the local Green Deals is not functioning, mainly based on the fact that their communities are still in a very nascent state. But we are continuing to develop instruments for them to find financing for their activities, and this is why we're focusing in an event that we will be organizing in late April on explaining funding opportunities and how European funding managed both at the EU level and at national level can help them achieve their vision. Because, for example, in Romania, we will have funding opportunities for social enterprises and enterprises that want to finance, a more sustainable and green future. Next slide, please. Yes, and what I wanted to mention is that we already went through the steps that the blueprint has in place. We are now starting the last step, and I think that this is the most important one for us, monitoring the progress and promoting the results. And I feel that we need support in this, in both maybe creating this platform where we explain the results that we have within the local Green Deal, and through which we can engage more with the partners and also with other organizations that want to take part of the local Green Deal. So these are our main challenges right now, and hopefully with your help we will find some nice ideas that we can implement for the next years in our local Green Deal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raluca. Also many very interesting aspects, and looking forward to the discussion. So anyone who already has questions or comments popping up, feel free to also place them in the chat. I'll keep trying to unmute you, and I hope it works later, but yeah, also use the chat. But then let's continue and hear from the last project, which is TouriSME, and I believe, Vadim, you will be presenting? Perfect, then the floor is yours.
Hello everyone, my name is Vadim, and I'm from the Chamber of Commerce of Badajoz, and I want to present to you the tourism project. The objective of this project was to restore the tourism sector in 3 different regions that have been greatly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Those regions, one of those regions being in Italy, that one being Lipari, and the other two being in Spain, more concretely San Javier and Olivenza. In order to reach its objective, it was crucial to have the involvement not only of the small and medium companies, but also of local municipalities. For that reason, the consortium of the project was constituted of 6 partners, and 3 of them were local municipalities, namely the municipality of Lipari, the municipality of San Javier, and the municipality of Olivenza. As for the activities carried out in the project, you can press on the slide. So in the first stages of the project, we did an analysis of the current state of the tourism sector in each region, a demographic analysis, an economic analysis, a SWOT analysis, as well as focus groups with local SMEs. Afterwards, we released an open call, and a company diagnostics was made by an expert to the companies that appointed themselves to participate in the project. We also delivered several trainings on various topics to these companies. And in one stage, we did a matchmaking event where the companies got to meet each other and the municipalities for the first time, even though in an online manner. They were able to present their business innovation idea. And during this time, they have been also encouraged to co-create and co-innovate and produce business partnership innovation ideas. And so they did. Another very important activity of the project was the study visits. We executed 2 different study visits. The first one was in Italy, in Lipari, and the second one was in Spain. This study visit was divided in 2 parts. The first part was in San Javier, and the second part was in Olivenza. The whole objective of the study visits was so that the business owners could experience and understand the tourism culture from the different regions and maybe gather some ideas to their own businesses. And of course, to interact directly with the municipalities and the local SMEs. During the study visits, we also carried out several trainings and had different roundtables. And it was very interesting to see how everyone would have something to bring to the table, how the people were very interested in listening and learning from each other, as well as sharing their own experiences. At the end of the project, 2 promotional videos for each municipality have been created, and a small project documentary showcasing the objectives of the project and the opinions of the participants. Lastly, from my part, I want to leave you with a positive thing and a not so positive that we have been able to see while carrying out this project. The positive thing was the availability, the willingness, and the eagerness of the participants to learn, to share their knowledge, and I believe that this is something that happened with this project, but it can also happen in a lot of different ones. Maybe the only thing that is missing is the amount of initiatives and opportunities for someone to take in the first step to collaborate, to co-create. The not so positive thing, on the other hand, was that we encountered that local municipalities and local authorities require a lot of processes and a lot of steps in order to approve some things. Even sometimes something that should be done promptly takes them a longer time because they need to go through these steps. And I believe that this showcases the need to digitalize and modernize not only the SMEs, but also the local authorities. And that is it for my part.
Great, thank you a lot, Vadim. I think it was you're the first project I've been talking to that really tried to bring this idea to the tourism sector. So I'd be also curious to hear a bit more like to what extent sustainability or like changing sustainable or bringing sustainability more into tourism business models, let's say, worked out. But I'll try to stay in the back and leave the floor to the participants. So if you would like to come in and address any of the speakers or just the whole group all together now, I think we can open it up to the whole group also. Please raise your hand. I'll try to unmute you. I hope it works. Otherwise, put your question in the chat. Don't see any hands up, so then I'll start again. Also, any other colleagues are invited to start. I mean, I think what I find very interesting was the trust aspect, right? I think we discussed it already in some other events also last week as part of the ICC workshops. But Mattia, you mentioned the trust building in the Italian context. Also, Raluca, I think you mentioned in the Romanian context similar issues. And so this whole idea of public sector working together with companies, being people are more suspicious to it, but nevertheless also it sounded like you found ways to do it. So is this something where you would say, okay, having these good practice examples from other countries was a helpful element, because that's something we're doing in ICC also a lot, right? And also trying on discussing that with the core cities in ICC. And then the question is like, to what extent does that convince local stakeholders, or do they say, well, yeah, it doesn't help me if I have an example from Denmark or Germany. If I'm Italy, I need an example from Italy to really convince people. Maybe just a curious question to start the discussion. Please go there.
Very easy. Yes, both you said, and yes, it is the answer that usually we have, that having a Danish example, it doesn't suit you. But that's also one of the need that we have gathered, that yes, it is not that it is not useful to hear from Aalborg how good they are. It's just that we need an interface to contextualize it to our reality. It's not that we can't just learn from it as the way it is. We need an interface or someone that is able to translate it to our reality and to find if it can be useful or not. We just need an interface. That's our funding plan, mostly on the ICC project, so based on it. But yes. And then another thing that I've seen also in the chat, to engage, to bypass the mistrust, our best options have been looking for money and using crowdfunding. Because if you go there and look for money and go using also other means, for us, crowdfunding for private businesses was a better way to do not interface directly to donation to public administration. But at the same time was the right interface to let people share what they wanted and what they really needed and what you need to put on the table to make them cooperate.
Okay, so
and another time you needed an interface. In this case, going for funding and asking for money and put that in the middle was like the right interface, which was a surprise for us. We begin saying, okay, nobody said, okay, I do not have money, I will never give money to you, and think that this was our beginning. But then we discovered that people say, okay, I can give you money, what you give me back? Okay, I need this, can you help me with this? And if you got someone in the middle that can arrange the two things,
okay,
a great opportunity. That's it.
Sticks and carrots. Yeah, no, but that's not surprising, but good to hear that maybe that breaks the ice, and then they open up also for less like more immaterial maybe motivations. That's good to hear. Raluca, did you want to add to that one?
Yeah, I agree with Mattia that we have the same experience. For us, maybe it's a little bit harder because we have some legislative things to be put in place that are maybe unclear right now. And sometimes public authorities feel they are not, really following the law, if they cooperate with SMEs, something like that. So we still have to figure out some legislative things. But I think that, yes, the fact that this was a European funded project triggered like proactivity from the local authorities, right? And they somehow didn't have any stoppings into working with SMEs, because we were doing all this in a European funded project. So this also counted a lot, the fact that this was endorsed by this higher authority, right, European level.
Thanks. No, that's a very good hint. And I think, I mean, that's also what, a program like the Intelligent Cities Challenge, we hope also delivers to those cities participating, that it gives you a bit an external convincing factor to get going and create a bit of an exceptional moment, so to say. So good to hear that it did work also in your case. Maybe just picking up a question in the chat also from Egon, which was directed to you about the crowdfunding. So I'm not sure if you already read it. Okay, then maybe you also quickly want to react to that one.
Yeah, I cannot put any comments in the chat, so this is why I wanted to take this opportunity to answer live. In funding and crowdfunding, so I think that it's crucial for the people you are working with the SMEs to understand that both or any funding mechanism takes a time and resources, and it's really important for the SMEs that want to use crowdfunding, for example, as a funding mechanism for their green path, to understand that they will have to give up time and energy continuously for 30, 45, 50 days, whatever, to put into the campaign. And something that they maybe they don't think about every time is their own effort that they need to pay themselves, basically, to deliver the crowdfunding campaign. And also they don't estimate the value of their community, right? So this is very, very important. They need to really think about their community and really reach out to them. And this was also a challenge for us in the project. We even though we envisioned that we will be able to run some crowdfunding campaigns, unfortunately, it was impossible in the end. But we're still pushing maybe for other mechanisms to be put in place. We are working with another municipality in Romania in developing a match funding mechanism, which means that if you raise X amount of euros from a crowdfunding campaign, then the public authority will match that with public funding. So you have this endorsement from your community, and also, you deliver a project that makes sense for the community and also for the public authority, because it sees that it has interest in that specific community.
Perfect. Thank you. Very, very interesting aspect. Thanks for the answer. And by the way,
we did it too, Raluca, sorry, but it was public-based or private-based? Was the private that we put the other effort, or the private? Okay.
Private
sorry.
For us.
Sorry, Niklas.
No worries. Okay, perfect. And to all participants, I manually unmuted you all, so I hope you can speak up if you want to, just to encourage any direct questions. Great. Then I don't know, maybe Vadim, the point you raised also about public administration being a bit slow sometimes. I think that's a common stereotype, let's say, but also a reality in many cases, I guess. So here maybe I'm looking at our group 1 cities. I mean, you're all a bit larger, but you mentioned digitalization. Is that something maybe that Amsterdam, Mannheim, Espoo, or Aalborg, where you say, that's something we know like from 10 years ago, but now we're more digitalized, things have sped up, or you say, basically the same, but we found a different way? Or is there any lessons that you would say, or any recommendations you would say you can make for cities who face this challenge of being maybe too bureaucratic or too slow for an agile approach that local green deals would need? Or same, but just bigger administration? I see Christopher smiling, so you be smiling too. Any comments? Okay, everybody's smiling now.
I could maybe say something. So I think this in a way, I think that what the cities are doing here with the local green deals is also a way to. We do it also because there is maybe a lack of action from a national level. And in the long run, these companies that are now doing the green deals, of course, in the long run, we want companies to be like climate neutral without getting subsidies at every corner or getting help. I mean, that will be the new normal. And the local green deals is a way to accelerate the process to get there. That's how I see it. And that's why we try to get to your question now, to get to a kind of a critical mass of stakeholders locally, so that this is like a snowball rolling down a hill, and get some momentum, and that stakeholders locally want to be part of this bigger group that's getting bigger and bigger. So I guess that's our approach, and yeah, I don't know if I answered your question. I think I didn't, but yeah.
To some extent, I think yes. But if anybody else wants to comment, please do so. I'm also aware of the time. We have to wrap up, so maybe one last comment from our speakers, and then I would like to take 1 more minute to wrap up our session. Any?
Well,
Zubi,
can you hear me? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in just a general comment, I totally agree with Lucas as well. But I think as in general, the city administrations are the closest public authority to the local stakeholders, for example, to citizens to approach us, and also companies and so on. So to find a common ground and interest is quite easy as in those terms, but I don't know if there's any like shortcut or silver bullet in creating this cooperation in general. I think it's just you have to grow the momentum, put or invest some time in building the trust, and also it requires obviously a little bit like more sort of like openness from the public administration. So it depends a lot the organizational culture of the public administrations in a way as well. But I think what helps, this is my last comment, is that the momentum is growing in different scales and levels. So in European level, but also in the general like trends. So, for example, we are seeing those trends of people or consumers, for example, wanting their products that they buy to be more eco-friendly or so on. So I think now the awareness of the climate change, etc., those kind of things definitely makes it more quicker or accelerate also this momentum further on. So it's also a good ground to start to work together.
All right, thanks a lot. Okay, and unfortunately, I think we'll have to wrap up here. So let me just share very briefly some of the recommendations that we collected from the 5 projects. So on the policy level, we would like to conclude hereby that some support for the development of common tools would be much needed and welcomed, such as like platforms for local green deal management. I think especially Aalborg, you mentioned it also, with like 50 deals at hand, you need to think about how to manage all these different agreements and stakeholders. I think an experience also coming from Amsterdam, but also Mannheim, I'm aware of thinking about it, is how to align local green deals with other policy instruments out there, such as the Corporate Social Responsibility Directive and ESG reporting. So more like European legal frameworks and global also attempts to drive business to sustainability. Similarly, I think connections to European plans like Social Economy Action Plan should be linked to local green deals, and this whole topic of transitioning business models could be strengthened through that. And last but not least, also the cities mission, of course, as well as related Horizon Europe projects would be nice to have more consciously linked into any future local Green Deal support programs. Then on the funding side, we of course would really like to see a continuation of funding for local Green Deals, be that the SMP program or others. Continue directing the funding directly to cities is a logical also request we would make, or we want to make hereby, and allowing for more flexible funding mechanisms. This was speaking to what I think Raluca, but also Mattia mentioned. So this matchmaking to allow for more targeted maybe funding support also within the context of such projects would be something to keep in mind. And ultimately, I think increasing the budget would be nice. For the 5 sister projects we have here, we had a budget of around 200,000 for 1.5 to 2 years. Increasing that maybe to about 1 million would certainly boost the effectiveness and also the scope of work that we could do here. Just 2 more points on types of action. I think capacity support was mentioned. Especially I think also in group 2, what we heard, the public administration still needs some capacity building to really drive local Green Deals. Then encouraging SMEs or encourage actions with SMEs and engaging them with peers, let's say, be that on the local or the national or even international level. I think that's something also we've seen that could be helpful to really have maybe the additional authority, as Raluca, you mentioned it, to make these SMEs come out of their comfort zone and open up for an approach like local Green Deals. The third point, active dialogue with the European institutions. I think that would be nice. I think we have good connections with the Commission, but it would be maybe also interesting to present local Green Deals to the European Parliament and see what the parliamentarians think about it and what they could do. And finally, scope of action. I think that was clear throughout today. We would like to see kind of an openness of local Green Deals being a tool for systemic transition in all dimensions of sustainability, let's say. So social impact, as we've seen in Amsterdam, environmental impact, like we've seen, for example, in Umeå with the climate roadmap, or in Aalborg, but potentially also all other sectors or areas of human economy and that are relevant for sustainability transitions. So with that, I would like to thank everybody who attended today's event. I enjoyed it very much. It was amazing once again to see those who have been engaged over the last 2 years on several occasions. It was nice to see those who have been joining this discussion more recently. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to all the cities. Big thank you to all the alliance partners who have done great work, and without whom we wouldn't be where we are now and wouldn't have this great linkage also into the Intelligent Cities Challenge. And I'm happy we made our way into the program. And with that, I would end the session and wish you all a good rest of your day. And then at some point, a nice Easter break, and keep up the great work on local Green Deals. And if there's questions, feel free to contact us. We're always happy to connect cities in Europe, which is our job as a city network. So with that, have a nice day.